Steve Brown from Swansea Creatives, and this morning I'm here with Gary Wignall from West Wales Heating. We've been talking about all the different things that Gary does, you know, biomass and all the rest of it, but one of the things I was particularly interested in was solar panels.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. One, what is a solar panel? And two, why would I even want to use them?
Right. Solar panels come in two forms, and I'll make the distinction straight off. There's solar thermal, and there's solar PV, photovoltaic.
Right.
So PV panels generate electricity, and basically you can use that electricity within your home, and any production goes onto the national grid.
Right.
Do
I get paid for that?
You get paid for all of it. Yeah. The other type is solar thermal, which is a larger part of our work. And solar thermal is where the panels have fluid going through the panels and is heated by not necessarily the sun, but by UV.
Right.
I have to make that distinction because they do actually create quite a lot of heat, even on overcast days.
Right, I was going to ask you that one because when you say solar, you think sun, you think only works on the sun.
Yeah.
When I don't need it because it's warm anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the ultraviolet that actually does it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, over a year, you would get you can get up to 70% of all the, well, I was going to say hot water, depending on how the system's designed, but most systems have 2 or 3 panels or the evacuated tubes, and they heat purely the hot water cylinder.
Right.
And in those circumstances you will get 70%, up to 70%, between 60 and 70% of all that hot water over the year will come from your solar thermal.
Right, and you know the panels themselves, because you said fluid, I know you didn't say water. So what sort of fluids are you talking about? Are they what I'd be concerned about, so I've got these, I'm just going to be, devil's advocate here, so I've got these solar panels up there. How robust are they, for weather, for vandalism, etc.?
It's a good question. The evacuated tube, which is where you have a manifold with tubes coming down it, which fits onto a roof, are more vulnerable to that. They're still very strong, but if somebody was to fire an air rifle at it, it would break the glass.
Okay, which you would do with any glass, you double glaze and anything else.
Exactly. Flat plate is much thicker glass, is much more robust, and like everything has a breaking point, but they're far stronger.
Okay.
I've gone out to customers who've had a branch off a tree fall on it. They've asked me to check it out, make sure everything's it's been perfectly fine. Okay. If it was evacuated tube, then there would be a much higher risk that those tubes were broken.
Because when I see them, I see them on industrial sites, because obviously people are becoming more aware of these units, etc. So when you see all these things, so they're although they look pretty, and they can look that, so we're not talking about something that's very vulnerable. We're talking about something that's been built, very robust, etc. Okay, and the fluids that are in them?
The fluid, basically, it is a water-based fluid, but it's got a high concentration of glycol in there, so there's no risk of them freezing during the colder months, perhaps when the system isn't being used. And it's got antibacterial and such like, so you don't have growth in the water during the work. So that's the fluid. Now, a traditional setup is where you, like I say, you'd have 2 or 3 panels. Generally speaking, you'd have 1 panel for every 100 litres of water that's stored in your hot water cylinder. Most properties have between 200 and 300 litre hot water.
The hot water tank that we see in the air cupboard. Yeah?
Exactly that. And so it varies between 2 and 3 panels, and that equates to, for every panel, it's 10 tubes with evacuated tube.
Okay.
So again, if you've got a 200 litre hot water cylinder, you're looking at 20 tubes. Yeah. If you've got a 300 litre cylinder. And the variation in that is then the way that your roof lies.
Right.
You're putting solar panels on an evacuated tube on the roof that's facing south.
Okay.
Because that generates the most UV. Okay. Because the sun goes from east to west, south, middle, hey ho.
So that's dictating. So I've got some question there then, because obviously we're all, I'm a person that has a dish on the side of my house, for the TV and all the rest of it. So what you're saying then is that where the panels are located is in the main dictated by where the sun is, obviously. You know, where you want to pick up.
Yeah, you want to put it on the
installation. But what if they can't put it to south facing?
Well, there is an option. If you can't put the panels on the south facing roof, then by that very nature you're almost saying that it's an east or west facing roof.
Okay.
And you can actually split the systems in half, and say the 2-panel installation, have 1 panel on an east facing roof and 1 on a west facing roof.
They're still getting a good use out of it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, in effect it's a sealed system. The solar is controlled by its own pump, and that pump feeds in through a coil inside your hot water cylinder. So it's a completely separate system. Because I was mentioning there's glycol antifreeze in the system, obviously can't enter into the system with the water coming out of your taps. So it's a sealed system running through a coil in a hot water cylinder, thermostat, whatever hot water storage you have. The great thing with solar thermal is it's not particularly expensive in terms of the renewables that we do. The running costs are very small. All you've got basically is a circulating pump, the same as you do for your central heating. Obviously it's designed to work with solar systems, but it's just a circulating pump. So you've got very low running costs. Again, as we've talked earlier about biomass and such like, it comes under the RHI banner.
Share support.
So there's, you get paid if it's domestic installation for 7 years for having it. Obviously, the amount you get is dictated by the installation costs to a degree. But again, over a 7-year period, you'd expect the payments to cover the installation within 3 or 4 years.
And that's fascinating, because I just know that years ago when people used to talk about your recovery, we were talking 20, 30 years, and nobody's interested in that. We all move houses, change cars, and all that type of thing.
That's an interesting thing, by the way, that if you move house with all the renewables, if you move house, you don't take the payments with you.
Right.
The payments stay with the property because it's the property that's being heated by the renewable technology.
Right.
So you could almost say that it's an extra start to your property.
Yeah,
in that you've got renewables. If it's still within that time, then the new owners will receive those payments. But the main thing is that the running costs are much lower than with traditional oil or gas. So, which is another string to your bow when you're selling a house.
Okay, that's interesting. So guys, this has been Steve Brown from the Swansea Creators. I've been talking to Gary Wignall this morning from West Wales Heating about solar panels. If you want to know, just go to the website, give a phone call, and they'll help you with the inquiries. So I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.